Success is much more boring than we envision it to be. I'll talk about exactly this today in correlation to a system or a concept that I learned years ago, which is called the emotional cycle of change. How I got to this is because of this situation that I find myself in today, but more about that after a quick reintroduction. My name is Daniel Bamdad. You're watching Daniel Bamdad. This is my YouTube channel where I simply speak with you and with myself. No coaching, no teaching. It's just me sharing things about my human experience, hoping that it'll help you in some shape or form, realizing how to improve the relationship with yourself and how to maybe be a bit more aware in the way that you are walking through life. Ultimately, sorry, it's scratching. Ultimately, I truly believe that we are living in a world where we have to today redefine our most authentic self in order to find the fulfillment and clarity that we all are aiming for. And so this is the deeper layer of it. For that, I am releasing a book in Q4 of this year, so in fall, winter this year. And I look forward to sharing more details on that. But for now, we will focus on the topic. And if it's the first time that you're watching, I have this beautiful Pomodoro, which I love to work with, and I use it to set it on 10 minutes because your time is very valuable for me and for yourself, of course, as well. And I appreciate you watching. So I want to make sure I get to the point quickly. So let's set this on 10 minutes. Here we go. So what do I mean with success is boring? The emotional cycle of change and overall things usually in life being a little less exciting than we envision them to be. So I find myself today in episode 4 of this new YouTube concept I created. And I have to be honest with you, today is not very exciting, right? It's the first time that I'm kind of like in a, there's no crazy excitement. And I just had to get it done, right? And for me, what I unlocked over the past years, and what I mean with success is boring, is that social media, the media, society, they're trying to show us this idea through movies and, all these different influences and such, that success is this exciting thing that happens, boom, overnight, and it's all these crazy experiences. But let me tell you from firsthand experience that the reality is that success is really, really, really boring. And what I mean with success being really boring is you just have to be consistent and do the same thing over and over again. And then, of course, you have these unlocks and these moments where it gets exciting. But to be honest with you, the foundation of it is doing the boring things over and over and over again, right? And so how does that tie in with this concept of the emotional cycle of change? So I've learned this concept years ago, and it really changed the way I look at myself through life. Because what happens is that in life, I like to try a lot of different things out. I went down different paths to try and find fulfillment and try to self-realize myself. And when I learned this system, things became very clear to me. And so the emotional cycle of change, basically, in a simple way explained, is the following situation that I'm sure you have found yourself in before as well. And that is, you have this new idea, right? So you have this business idea, and you're all excited, and all of the ideas are just flowing, and you're writing down, and you're creating a mood board and all of these things, and it just comes so naturally, and you feel like you can take on the world, right? And so then you have this maybe for the second, the third day, the third week, something like that. And at one point, you have this dip. So you start very exciting, and then you have this dip. because this dip is when you realize the reality, which is, well, it also ties in with a lot of boring things that you're going to have to do over and over again. And it just doesn't feel that exciting anymore. And so a lot of times during this emotional dip, people start to say goodbye, right? So you can see this for anything in life, right? Let's say, for example, you want to get fit. You have this excitement. You're buying yourself new workout gear. You're like, okay, I'm ready. You're getting a membership. You're excited. You have this new playlist. You do this 2, 3, 4 times maybe. Now life starts to kick in, right? You have other appointments. Maybe you had a bad night's sleep. And so then you realize, man, how am I going to stay consistent with this? And reality kicks in. And this is when it starts to go down here. And most people, they are not able to push through this valley, through this down part before we start to catapult up, right? And so you have this for any kind of change, the change of environment, the change of and environment, for example, is, you move to a new city, to a new country, you're up here, you're like, oh my God, everything is so amazing. It's so beautiful because it's different. And then you live there a couple of months and then you start to see the reality. And so to put this into my YouTube channel, this is currently the part that I'm in. Lucky enough, I've learned this framework, I've learned this concept for me to know that, hey, Daniel, this is where you're in right now, and you just have to keep going, right? You just have to stay consistent. And by staying consistent, you are moving through this part that eventually, and look, there's no guarantee on how long this part takes, right? It can be this one episode, it can be a couple of episodes, but I need to remind myself of the initial feeling of fulfillment that I talked about in the last episode. And I need to think about the overall vision that I have. And so this goes for you and for anything in your life that can help you, where you have an understanding of this emotional cycle of change, right? And here's the most classic example. It's love, it's relationships, right? So social media, the media, society is trying to tell you like this exciting thing, and like a healthy marriage, it's about like being like spiced up and blah blah blah, and here and there. The reality is this: a healthy marriage is actually quite boring. And again, if you understand what I mean with boring, is you just have to do the same word over and over again, and life is just not that every day. For most people, you are on a different yacht, in a different hotel, in private jets, exciting here, exciting there. It's about handling everyday life together, right? And that, quote unquote, is boring. It's, handling everyday errands, handling everyday challenges and problems. But this is how you build a healthy relationship and a healthy marriage. And a lot of people, they have this what is called honeymoon phase. So it's super exciting. And then that first dip happens. And that's, especially in today's society, that's where a lot of people feel like, oh, this is not the right fit for me. But you need to move through this to actually start to see the person for who they are, and to really start building a long-term foundation there, that will last over years and decades and more. And so this is how I find myself here today. Is at first I wasn't really sure what to talk about. Then it all hit me, because I was like, hey, Daniel, here you are, in that slump, in that emotional cycle of change, not really being sure where this is going. But I knew that the most important thing is to stay consistent, and to sit here today and to share that exact moment with you. And so I hope that this concept of the emotional cycle of change helps you in some shape or form. Again, it can really be applied to pretty much any kind of change in your life, no matter what it is. If you want to change the way you eat, if you want to change the way you exercise, if there's a change because of a new loved one in your life, if it's a new job, a new place that you're moving to, so many different things that can change in your life, right? And once you're aware of this emotional cycle of change, we are coming back to self-awareness and the relationship with yourself. You can now be self-aware enough to catch yourself in that moment and to redirect yourself in a healthy way so that you can make sure that the relationship with yourself is built through awareness. Because again, when it comes to a healthy relationship with yourself, this is again very boring because success in itself is boring. So it's not that, you work on yourself and then from one day to the other, boom, you have like this incredible healthy relationship with yourself. It's not at all that. It's about learning the boring things that can help you on a day-to-day basis to realign yourself and speak to yourself in a respectful and patient manner when when your mind or yourself is trying to drift off from where you really desire to go to. And so you see here that even for the relationship with yourself, the emotional cycle of change can be applied, and the concept of success is boring. And so for today, I thought this was perfectly fitting. At the end of the day, I did manage again to share these 10 minutes with you and just speak my mind. Hopefully, and here's the time now, hopefully this still gave you something today. If this is the first time you're watching, thank you that you've watched. If it's the second, the third time that you're watching, I sincerely appreciate your time, your support, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. And I'm excited to see when we're coming through that valley, through that slump, and we're catapulting up. So I hope this helped you. If it did, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Otherwise, please feel free to share this with any of your loved ones, people in your surrounding. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Daniel Bamdad. And I really look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you so much and much love.